I am. I am in a minute.
All right. I'm going to go backstage here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Torah Before Shabbat TV. We apologize for the delay. We're gonna have brother Kerry. He's gonna start it up for us. So let's just get this going. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. I want to sing the song. It's called Question. Who has gone to heaven and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his palm? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who established all the ends of the earth? Who established all the ends of the earth? Did you not know? Have you not heard? Hasn't he declared to us from the start of the earth? It is he who unfolds the heavens like a velvet curtain. Lift your eyes on high and see who created these. Lift your eyes on high and see who created these. What is his name? What is his son's name? What is his name? What is his son's name? What is his name? What is his son's name? What is his name? What is his son's name? Darkness fills the earth when my name you despise. Thick clouds of darkness have covered your eyes. Arise and shine, for your light has come. Arise and shine, for your light has come. Arise and shine, for your light has come. I forgot the words on that. Sorry, guys. Anyways, nice to have you here. I'll play that for you another time. But we got started on this Masoret document last time, and we got almost up to the point. We got right up to the point to where we were going to start talking about what the constellations are doing and what the names of the stars are doing. We have let me get up to where we were. So in conclusion with what we did last Sabbath, I'll read this. Yahushua is declaring that he is the one who does the works that the constellations are portraying. The meanings of the constellations are shown in the names of each star that Yahuwah named. The meanings of the names of the stars are the same in all languages. The Witnesses of the Stars, written by E.W. Bullinger, is a great work explaining this. Another great work is from Robert Scott Wadsworth and Daniel G. Stockmeyer in A Voice Crying in the Wilderness, or in the Heavens. If you want to know the meanings of the stars within the constellations, you can refer to their books, for they have already done a great work, so I do not need to do this again. My purpose in this document is to bring out biblical prophecies that are referring to them. I have placed the meaning of the constellations at the beginning of each picture so that you can see how the prophecies fit. Okay, here's Joseph. Joseph was given a dream about the stars. Can everyone hear me fine? I hope so.
Perfect. We hear you perfect.
Okay, great.
We hear you fine.
In Joseph's dream in Genesis 37, 9 and 10, he dreams that the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to him. And he related it to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, your brothers, indeed come and bow down to the earth before you?" Even though Jacob did not like the dream, he certainly did understand what it meant. The sun represented Joseph's father, Jacob. The moon represented his mother, Rachel, and the stars represented his brothers. But the dream said 11 stars, but the 11 bowed to the 12th star, which was Joseph. The reason they all bowed to him was later he would be at the right hand of Pharaoh, and because there was a famine in the land, they had to go to Egypt to get food from the granaries that Joseph had set up for the people. But also Joseph was a perfect picture of our Messiah and how the sun, moon, and stars bow to him. The birth of Israel, therefore, represents the virgin bride or the woman in prophecy. And let us look at the correlation between Israel and the sun, moon, and stars. In Jeremiah 31, 35, 37. Thus said Yahuwah, who gives the sun for a light by day, and the laws of the moon and the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea and its waves roar. Yahuwah host is his name. If these laws vanish from before me, declares Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus said Yahuwah, if the heavens above could be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I would also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, declares Yahuwah. So now, let's look at another prophecy. And it's moved my stuff around, okay. Okay, here we have Aries, the ram. The Hebrew name for this constellation is Taleh, the lamb sent forth. In Latin, it is Aries and means the lamb. In Arabic, the name is Al-Hamal, the sheep, gentle, merciful. The Akkadian name is Bara Agar, which means sacrifice of righteousness. The chief star is El Nath, which means the wounded or slain. The star Al Sheraton means the bruised or wounded. And the star Mesartim in Hebrew means the bound. So right here, here's the constellations. Of course, they drew a picture over it. But if you just looked up at the sky and you saw these bright points of stars in that area, this is what, if you looked up each little star and found the name for it, this is what the stars would mean. So the Lamb sent forth, the lamb, the sheep, gentle, merciful, the sacrifice of righteousness, the wounded or the bruised or wounded, the bound. That tells a story, does it not? So let's look at John 1:35-36. John was standing with two of his taught ones, and looking at Yahushua walking, he said, "See the Lamb of Elohim," or "Behold the Lamb of Elohim." What he was doing was he was using constellation language. This is the Lamb that is being portrayed in the heavens. And so when John saw the Messiah, he said, "Behold, this is the Lamb of Elohim," the constellation that we've been looking at year after year after year. In Revelation 13:8, "And all those dwelling on earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the slain Lamb from the foundation of the world, shall worship him." So last Sabbath, I talked about this. How in the world could the Lamb be slain from before the foundation of the earth, of the world? That's pretty incredible. Well, it's because it's the same thing that John saw. John knew this constellation. Reading the constellation was nothing new for the prophets. It was nothing new for Abraham. It was nothing new for the patriarchs. That's how they were able to, that's how Jacob named his sons. He read the constellations, the 12 constellations that are connected to the ecliptic line. And then he gave a prophecy to all 12 of his sons. Isaiah 53:5-9. "He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our crookedness. The chastisement of our peace was upon him." You guys understand Isaiah 53 is a very, very famous prophecy. But the Jews don't, or the rabbis don't want to quote it because it is so poignant, and it talks about our Messiah very clearly. "Chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all like sheep went astray. Each one of us has turned to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the crookedness of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth." Can you see how this connects to the constellation, the language of the constellation? "He was taken from prison and from judgment. And as for his generation, who considered that he shall be cut off from the land of the living? For the transgression of my people he was stricken, and he was appointed a grave with the wrong, and with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was deceit in his mouth." Revelation 5:6-10. "And I looked and saw in the midst of the throne and of the four living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing as having been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim sent out into all the earth. And he came and took the scroll out of the right hand of him sitting on the throne." That would be the Father. "And when he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding a harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set apart ones. And they sang a renewed song, saying, 'You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain and have redeemed us to Elohim by your blood out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and made us sovereigns and priests to our Elohim, and we shall reign upon the earth.'" Beautiful. Revelation 7, 9 through 15 speaks of this Lamb. After this, I looked and saw a great crowd, which no one was able to count, out of all nations and tribes and peoples and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, dressed in white robes and with palm branches in their hands, and crying out with a loud voice, saying, "Deliverance belongs to our Elohim, who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb." And all the messengers stood around the throne, and elders and the 4 living creatures, and fell on their faces before the throne and worshipped him, Elohim. Let's see if I can do this. Saying, "Amen. The blessing and the esteem and the wisdom and the thanksgiving and the respect and the power and the might to our Elohim forever and ever. Amen." And one of the elders responded, saying to me, "Who are these dressed in white robes, and where did they come from?" And I said to him, "Master, you know." And he said to me, "These are those coming out of the great distress, having washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Because of this, they are before the throne of Elohim and serve him day and night in his dwelling place. And he who sits on the throne shall spread his tent over them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun strike them nor any heat, because the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne shall shepherd them and lead them to fountains of waters of life. And Elohim shall wipe away every tear from their eyes." So here we go, the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne. And so that's the way it was whenever, beginning of time, before the beginning of time. Now, do you have any questions so far? All I'm doing is showing you what the documents say about the names of the stars and their meanings. Then I'm showing you the prophecies connected to it. Our scriptures are probably, I would say, close to 80% saturated with constellation language. And that's why this is so important for everyone to know. It's been above us. It's been passing us by all this time, and we never knew it. Taurus, the bull, the second main constellation. The brightest star in the bull's eye is Aldebaran, and means the strong leader of the word. So we have Al, which is El, and Debar. Debar is the word in Hebrew. So the strong leader of the word. The star in the tip of his left horn is El Nath. That would be this one over here. And means the wounded or slain. And there is a cluster of stars in the neck of the bull called the Pleiades. And this word means the congregation of the judge or ruler. In Hebrew, it is called Kema and means the heap or the accumulation.
Brother Kerry.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put a comment, okay? You're going to about to see it in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, someone's asking a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, read it.
Well, I'm actually going by what it was in Moses' time. That's what I'm doing. The question is, if appropriate, could you explain why Aries is considered for the first month when the sun is actually in Pisces? It moves around eventually. So I hope that answered your question. So this is showing us in Pleiades. Pleiades is right here, and it has all these stars, and it's called the the seven sisters, but there's seven bright stars. Of course, when you look at it with a microscope, there's many more stars in there, but the ones that you can see with your naked eye are the seven sisters. And we find this cluster referred to as Kima. So this cluster is actually it's talking about us. It's talking about the remnant of Israel. He who removes mountains and they do not know it, when he overturns them in his displeasure, who shakes the earth out of its place and its columns tremble, who commands the sun and it does not rise, and he seals up the stars, stretching out the heavens by himself, and treading upon the waves of the sea, who made Ash, Kessel, and Kima, and the rooms of the south. So these Ash, Kessel, and Kima, let me tell you what those are. Let me turn to Job here, and I'll tell you what those are in modern times. Okay, Ash is Arcturus, Kessel is Orion, and Kima are the Pleiades. There it is. And here in the book of Amos, we see the house of Joseph, Taurus, in Bethel, the house of Elohim, with Kessel, the Pleiades. Amos 5:6-8. Seek Yahuwah and live, lest he break out like fire upon the house of Joseph, and shall consume it, with no one to quench it, in Bethel, house of Elohim. My pictures are all messed up, but it's okay. Oh, you who are turning right, ruling into wormwood, and have cast down righteousness to the earth, he who made Kima and Kessel, and who turns the shadow of death into morning and darkened day into night, who is calling for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. Yahuwah is his name. In the King James Version, Kima is referred to here in this verse as the seven stars. And in astronomy, they are called the seven sisters. Very interesting, since there are several references in Revelation about the seven stars. But the most incredible of these is Revelation 1:20. The secret mystery of the seven stars which you saw in my right hand, and the seven golden lampstands. The seven stars are messengers of the seven assemblies, and the seven lampstands which you saw are seven assemblies. Okay, so it's blanked out some of my pictures. Okay. So anyways, remember the meaning of Pleiades, congregation of the judge or ruler, and this connects us to this verse in Psalms. Psalms 82:1. Elohim stands in the congregation of El. He judges in the midst of the Elohim. Any astronomer will tell you that there are more than seven stars in Pleiades, but seven stars are all the naked eye can see before there were any telescopes to discover more stars. So from our viewpoint, that is all that the scriptures needed to reference. But from these passages, it shows us that Yahuwah stands and judges in the congregation of the Elohim, or the messengers, the angels, and that all the messengers are given a star to rule. All the righteous ones here on earth are also compared to the stars. Daniel 12:3-10. 3, verse 3 and verse 10. And those who have insight shall shine like the brightness of the expanse, and those who lead many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. And many shall be cleansed and made white and refined, but the wrong shall do wrong, and none of the wrong shall understand, but those who have insight shall understand. And so who are the congregation of the Pleiades here on earth? Deuteronomy 33, 13 through 17 says this. And of Yosef, he said, blessed of Yahuwah is his land with the choicest from the heavens, with the dew and the deep lying beneath, with the choice fruits of the sun, with the choice yield of the months, with the finest of the ancient mountains, with the choicest of the everlasting hills, with the choicest of the earth and all that fills it, and the good pleasure of him who dwelt in the bush. Let it come on the head of Yosef, and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. His splendor is like a firstborn bull, and his horns are like the horns of the wild ox. So the firstborn bull and the wild ox, that would be Taurus. With them he pushes the peoples to the ends of the earth, and they are 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are thousands of Manasseh. Genesis 48, 14 through 19. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, the Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the youths, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. I think my version, other versions can say, and let them increase to a teeming multitude of nations in the midst of the earth. That's a lot of people. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this one is a firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he also is great, and yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. I lost my picture on this one. Okay. After this, I looked and saw a great crowd, which no one was able to count, out of all nations and tribes and peoples and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, dressed in white robes, with palm branches in their hands, and crying out with a loud voice, saying, deliverance belongs to our Elohim who sits on the throne and to the Lamb. Okay, so this is a picture, it's supposed to be a picture here of Gemini, the twins. It's like two constellations together, and they're very similar. That's why they're called twins. The star in the head of the figure with the bow and arrow is called Apollo. Let's see. Maybe I can show a picture of this constellation. Okay. Hang on a second. Well, it's going to take me too long to get to it. Anyways, the star on the head of the figure with the bow and arrows called Apollo. I know that in Revelation, Apollo is attributed to Hasatan, but before you get yourself upset, remember that the Messiah is called the morning star, and so is Hasatan. Apollo simply means ruler or judge. The great deceiver always tries to copy what the Messiah does, so it should not surprise us to see this name in reference to our Messiah as well. The Latin tongue called them Castor and Pollux, while the ancient Dendera zodiac called them Clusis or Claustrum, Hor, which means the place of him who comes. If you don't know, the Dendera zodiac is found in a tomb or a monument in Egypt. And it's very interesting. And there's a lot of great information coming from the Dendera zodiac. The old Coptic name was Pi Mahi and means the united, as in having the same goal or purpose. The Hebrew name is Thummim, and also means united. The Urim and the Thummim jewels in the high priest's breastplate represent perfection and complete truth. The singular forms, and Tum, have been connected by some early scholars with the Babylonian terms Urtu and Tamitu, meaning oracle and command. So this is very interesting. So those two stones, Urim and the Thummim, that the high priest would look at to make decisions of which way to turn, which way to go, what to think, are being attributed to the twins constellation. The word Thummim is actually based upon the nearly identical Hebrew word ta'am, or twins, indicating that the oracles are actually identical twin jewels that the high priest wore on each breast, shining forth with great light in answer to the priest's questions. Urim has been translated as lights, its most direct translation, and Thummim has been translated as perfections. So light perfections. Therefore, Urim and Thummim are the lights that are twins, which directly are referring to this constellation Gemini. And many scholars now believe that Urim simply derives from the Hebrew term Arim, meaning curses. So Arim al, that's the meaning curses. And so Urim and Thummim essentially means cursed or faultless. In reference to Yahuwah's judgment of an accused person, in other words, Urim and Thummim were used to answer the questions of innocence or guilt. The Aleph in Arim or Urim and Tamim, or the Ta in Thummim, may be the source of the Aleph Ta, which is what Yahushua said he was. I am the Aleph and the Ta, beginning and the end. So if that is true, if the Aleph and Ta are being referred to the Urim and Thummim, and if the Urim and Thummim are showing us what the constellation, the twins, means, this here, the Messiah is telling you that he is being referred to in that constellation. And so what we have is, we have two Messiahs up there, the twins. One is glorified Messiah, and when he came as a human to die, that's when he came as a man. But he was speaking the same words. And so that's pretty incredible. And then we have Exodus. Then we have Exodus 28, 29, and 30. And Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel on the breastplate of right ruling over his heart, when he goes into the set apart place for a remembrance before Yahuwah continually. And into the breastplate of right ruling you shall put the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be on the heart of Aaron when he goes in before Yahuwah. and Aaron shall bear the right ruling of the children of Israel on his heart before Yahuwah continually. And so this is what Yahuwah does for us. He is our great high priest. Deuteronomy 33, 8 through 11. And of Levi, he said, your Thummim and your Urim belong to your kind one, whom you tried at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and mother, I have not seen them, and he did not acknowledge his brothers or know his own children. For they have guarded your word and watched over your covenant. They teach your right rulings to Jacob and your Torah to Israel. They put incense before you and a complete burnt offering on your altar. O Yahuwah, bless his strength and accept the work of his hands. Smite the lions of those who rise against him and of those who hate him, that they rise no more. There's another entry of Urim and Thummim. Numbers 27, 16 through 21. Let Yahuwah, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation, who goes out before them and comes in before them, who leads them out and brings them in, so that the congregation of Yahuwah be not like sheep without a shepherd. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, take Yahushua, son of Nun, with you, a man in whom is the Spirit, and you shall lay your hand on him, and shall set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him charge before their eyes, and shall put some of your esteem upon him, so that all the congregation of Israel obey him. And he is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire before Yahuwah for him by the right ruling of the Urim. At his word they go out, at his word they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, all the congregation. So there's another aspect to this constellation that needs to be brought forth, and it is, if the heavens are proclaiming the esteem of El, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand, then the Messiah is the main object of this constellation as well. But how do twins show us the Messiah? Biblical prophecy reveals that the Messiah would have two distinct natures or manifestations. They would be the same person. There are two hinge-pin prophecies that speak of the Messiah. One speaks of him being sent as a messenger, or a malach in Hebrew, and the other speaks of him being raised up as prophet like Moses from his brothers, showing that he was an Elohim, that he would also come as a man. So allow me to show you these two prophecies. First, in Exodus 23:20, see, I'm sending a messenger before you to guard you in the way and to bring you into the place which I prepared. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Be on guard before him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. But if you diligently obey his voice and shall do all that I, Yahuwah, speak, then I shall be an enemy to your enemies and a distresser to those who distress you. I am sure this is speaking of the Messiah. Let's compare that with what Yahushua says in John 14, 1 through 4. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Elohim, but believe also in me. In my Father's house, which is the Mazarot, are many staying places. And those are many places out there. And if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. It's the same thing he said. I'm sending the messenger before you to guard you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. The way is a Mazarot. And to bring you into the place which I have prepared. And then he comes, he says, In my Father's house, in the Mazarot, are many staying places, and if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. So he's saying the same exact thing, only he's in a different manifestation now. He's human when he said this. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you might be too. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. And the other prophecy is in Deuteronomy 18:15-20. Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall raise up for you a prophet like me from your midst, from your brothers. Listen to him. According to all you asked of Yahuwah, your Elohim, in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahuwah, my Elohim, nor let me see this great fire any more, lest I die. And Yahuwah said to me, what they have spoken is good. So I shall raise up for them a prophet like you out of the midst of their brothers. And I shall put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. And it shall be, the man who does not listen to my words, which he speaks in my name, I required of him. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded to him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other mighty ones, even that prophet shall die. You see, when Yahushua was a messenger in the burning bush, he was speaking with a tremendously loud and fearful voice, shouting down to them his Father's commands, and the children of Israel and the surrounding peoples could not bear to hear his voice. So, Father Yahuwah sent his son as a prophet like Moses, or in other words, like a man, much like Moses was. But if the people refused to hear him when he spoke as a man, then the Yahuwah would require it of them. Now let's look at this. And this is going to be a prophecy of the Messiah in his glorified form. In Ezekiel chapter 1, we have an awesome description of our Messiah as a mighty one in the esteem of his Father. Ezekiel 1:26-28. And above the expanse over their heads, okay, just got through talking about all of the cherubim, the cherub that are around the throne. And it says, and above the expanse over their heads was the likeness of a throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone. And on the likeness of the throne was a likeness as the appearance of a man, high above it. And from the appearance of his waist and upward, I saw what looked like glowing metal with the appearance of fire all around within it. And from the appearance of his waist and downward, I saw what looked like fire and brightness all around. Now, this is the most important part. As the appearance of a rainbow in a cloud on a rainy day, so was the appearance of the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the esteem of Yahuwah. It's not actually Yahuwah, the Father. This was the appearance of the likeness of the Father, of the esteem of the Father. And when I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one speaking. And here we have a description of Messiah as a mere man. Mark 6:2-4. And Shabbat having come, Yahushua began to teach in the congregation. And many who heard him were astonished, saying, where did he get all this? And what wisdom is this which is given to him? What such miracles are done through his hands? Is this not the carpenter, the son of Miriam, and the brother of Yaakov, and Yosef, and Yehuda, and Shimon? And are not his sisters here with us, and they stumbled in him? And Yahushua said to them, a prophet is not unappreciated, except in his own country, and among his own relatives, and in his own house. And if that is not enough proof, let me show you what it says in Hebrews about him. Hebrews 2, 6 through 18. But somewhere one has witnessed, saying, what is man that you remember him? Or the son of man that you look after him? Son of man, or son of Adam. You have made him a little lower than the messengers. You have crowned him with esteem and respect, and set him over the works of your hands. You have put all in subjection under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him, he left none that is not subjected to him. But now we do not yet see all subjected to him. But we do see him who was made for a little while lower than the messengers, Yahushua, because of the suffering of death, crowned with esteem and respect, that by the favor of Elohim he should taste death for everyone. For it was fitting for him, because of whom all are, and through whom all are, in bringing many sons to esteem, to make the princely leader of their deliverance perfect through sufferings. For both he who sets apart and those who are being set apart are all of one. For which reason he is not ashamed to call them brothers, saying, I shall announce your name to my brothers. In the midst of the congregation, I shall sing praise to you. And again, I shall put my trust in him. And again, see, I and the children of Elohim, whom Elohim gave me. Oh, so if you ever want to, if anyone ever says, where does it say that the Messiah announced his name to the brethren? Well, it's right here in Hebrews 2. I shall announce your name to my brothers in the midst of the congregation. I shall sing praise to you. Again, I shall put my trust in him. And again, see, I and the children whom Elohim gave me. Therefore, since the children share in flesh and blood, he himself similarly shared in the same. So that by means of his death, he might destroy him, having the power of death, that is, the devil, and deliver those who through life were held in slavery by fear of death. For doubtless, he does not take hold of messengers, but he does take hold of the seed of Abraham. So in every way, he had to be made like his brothers, in order to become a compassionate and trustworthy high priest in matters related to Elohim, to make atonement for the sins of the people. For in what he had suffered, himself being tried, he is able to help those who are tried. You see, whether he was here on earth as a glorious messenger or mere man speaking as a prophet, his message was still the same. He continually referred us back to his Father, spoke the words of his Father, and did the things his Father commanded him to do. The Messiah, in both his manifestations, mighty one or man, acted the same and spoke the same, thus fulfilling the imagery of the twins. The only difference was one was the son of Elohim and the other the son of man. One is like a lion, the other is like a lamb. So many brothers and sisters argue over whether Messiah was an Elohim or not, or a man, but once again, the heavens declare the true doctrine about him. Hallelujah. He's both. He's both. Well, I'm going to take a break here. If anybody wants to ask any questions or want me to go back and read anything, just let me know. If you need to get a drink of water, I think I do. Hang on a minute.
So as we're letting Brother Kerry get some water. Anyone else that has more questions, please feel free to ask questions. This is the time. So I'm glad Brother Jay Talbot got his question answered. And if anyone else has any more questions, well, feel free. If not, we're just going to continue.
Okay. Well, so is this coming across to where you can understand it, Jose?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Very much so.
So we'll go to Cancer the Crab. I'm going to have to redo this document and put the pictures back in there. But it's unfortunate that it's not showing it. But anyways, the image of the crab is also a fabrication, according to the Greeks, by the god Jupiter. It is also found among the Oriental zodiac and Egyptian zodiac in Rome. Although in the ancient Dendera zodiac, its name is Claria and means cattle foals. See, the Dendera zodiac is the oldest one that we have, and it goes back and it tells us what the truth is. It means cattle foals, which matches the meanings of the names of the stars in this constellation that this constellation embodies. The Arabic name is Al-Sartan, which means who holds or binds, and is comparable to the Hebrew word asar, meaning to bind together. The Syriac Sartano means the same. The Greek name is karkinos and means holding or encircling. In Arabic, the words kur or sur mean encircling. The Akkadian has this month called Sakuna and means the seizer or possessor of seed. In the center of this constellation, there is a bright cluster of stars and is called from ancient times Praesepe and means multitude or offspring. Other stars are as follows. Tegmin means holding. Akibain, the sheltering or hiding place. Ma'alpha means assembled thousands. All Himarian, the kids or lambs. Asulus means the ass. Asulus boreas, the northern ass. Asulus australis, the southern ass.
Oh. Oh.
Yes?
Sorry.
Okay. Issachar's tribal sign is of 2 asses, and it was common practice to place a donkey in the sheepfold because it would protect the flock from predators. Is this seen in the prophecy given to Issachar? Yeah. Let's look at Genesis 49, 14 through 15. Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between the sheepfolds. When he saw that a resting place was good and that the land was pleasant, he bowed his shoulder to bear burdens and became a slave at forced labor. So based on all the evidence and the meanings of the names of the stars, we can easily conclude that this sign is not a crab. However, we can see that it is a sheepfold. Silly pagans. John 10, 9 through 16. Here's what Messiah said about it. I am the door. Whoever enters through me, he shall be saved, and go in and shall go out and find pasture. So if you're in the sheepfold, this is what he's saying about you. The thief does not come except to steal, to slaughter, and to destroy. I have come that they might possess life, and that they might possess it beyond measure. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. But the hireling, and not being a good shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf snatches the sheep and scatters them. Now the hireling flees because he is a hireling and is not concerned about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me. Even as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold. I have to bring them as well. And they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one flock, one shepherd. Ezekiel 34:11 through 17. For thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, I myself shall search for my sheep and seek them out. As a shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among his scattered sheep, so I shall seek out my sheep and deliver them from all the places where they were scattered in a day of cloud and thick darkness. And I shall bring them out from the peoples and gather them from the lands, and shall bring them to their own land. And I shall feed them on the mountains of Israel, in the valleys, and in the dwellings of the land. In good pasture I shall feed them, and their fold shall be on the high mountains of Israel. They shall lie there in a good fold, and feed in rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. I shall feed my flock and make them lie down, declares the Master Yahuwah. I shall seek out the lost and bring back the strayed, and I shall bind up the broken and strengthen what was sick. But the fat and the strong I shall destroy. I shall feed them with right ruling. And as for you, O my flock, thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, I am judging between sheep and sheep, between rams and goats. So, I mean, it's beautiful because, even though the pagans have tried to change these, called it this constellation the crab, it should actually be the sheepfold, because that's what the stars bear. It's just like if you take the Hebrew language is exactly the same. You take a word and you go, let's say into Paleo Hebrew, each letter has a meaning. So if you look up each letter, the meaning of it, it describes what the word is saying. So just like the constellations, you have a constellation and then there's stars in the middle of the constellation. That's what's making it up. And when you look up the names of the stars, it tells you what the constellation's about. Same thing. So here's Leo, where it's Aryeh, the lion. The Hebrew name of this sign is Aryeh, which means the lion hunting down his prey. The Syriac name is Aryo, the tearing lion. The Arabic name is Al-Asad, and all these names mean a lion. See, all of these names mean a lion coming vehemently, leaping forth as a flame. The brightest star on the ecliptic line marks the heart of the lion. Man, I wish I could show you that, but even today is called Cor Leonis, which means heart of the lion. This star's ancient name is Regulus, which means treading underfoot. The next star in the tip of its tail is just as bright. It is called Denebola, and means the judge who comes. The star in his name is called Al-Giba, which means the exaltation. The star on the top rear of his back is called Zosma, and means shining forth. And what can be more expressive? All is in harmony, and all the names unite in pointing us to the prophecy in Genesis. But let me read it in red. Treading underfoot, the judge who comes, shining forth. So in Genesis 49, it says, Yehuda is a lion's cub from the prey. You have gone up, my son. He bowed down. He crouched like a lion. And like a lion, who does rouse him? So when Jacob was looking up into the heavens and he was declaring this on Yehuda, it showed Yehuda as a lion. And it's incredible. And so here we have constellation language right here in verse 9. Yehuda is a lion's cub from the prey. You have gone up, my son. He bowed down. He crouched like a lion, and like a lion, who does rouse him? So it's also the Messiah. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. And to him is the obedience of the peoples. And why is the Messiah associated with this prophecy? Because it is applied to him in Revelation 5:5. And one of the elders said to me, do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehuda, the root of David, overcame to open the scroll and to loosen its 7 seals. And there's another prophecy in Numbers 24, 8-9. El, who brought him out of Mitzrayim, or Egypt, is for them like the horns of a wild ox. He devours nations, his enemies, and he breaks their bones, and with his arrows he smites. He bowed down, he lay down like a lion, and like a lion, who would rouse him? Blessed is he who blesses you, and cursed is he who curses you. So all that sure seems to fit all this. A lion come and vehemently leaping forth as a flame. It's all right here in Scripture. Amos 3:4-8. Does a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? Does a young lion give forth his voice out of his den unless he was caught? A lion has roared. Who is not afraid? The Master Yahuwah has spoken. Who would not prophesy? Wow. So Master Yahuwah has just likened himself to this lion. And now here's Virgo. Virgo is one of those constellations that a lot of people have gotten really excited about, and it's helps us to see kind of where we're at in the world stage. It's the 6th main constellation in the Mazarot. The brightest star in Virgo is called in Latin Spica. In Hebrew, this name is Zerah, which means seed. The star Al Tzemek means branch. The star Beta Zavi Yahweh, or Sebi Yahweh, or even more correctly, Zavi Yahuwah, means beautiful Yahuwah, as in Isaiah 42. Isaiah 4, verse 2. In that day, the branch of Yahuwah shall be splendid, beautiful, and esteemed. and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for the escaped ones of Israel. The star Al-Meridan in Arabic means the sent one. So you guys, have you ever seen the picture of Virgo? How it's been drawn over with a depiction of a woman holding a branch in her right hand, and then she has some seed in her left hand. So that's what this constellation looks like. And there's many prophecies attributed to this one. Zechariah 2:10 and 11. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for look, I am coming and shall dwell in your midst, declares Yahuwah. And many Gentiles shall be joined to Yahuwah in that day, and they shall become my people. And I shall dwell in your midst, and you shall know that Yahuwah of hosts has sent me to you. John 3:34. See, the key word here is the sent one. The star Al-Meridan in Arabic means the sent one. If you look in the book of John, it's just all over the place that he is the sent one. John 6:37 through 40. All that the Father gives me shall come to me, and the one who comes to me I shall by no means cast out. Because I have come down out of the heaven, not to do my own desire, but the desire of him who sent me. This is the desire of the Father who sent me, that all he has given me I should not lose of it, but should raise it in the last day. And this is the desire of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him should possess everlasting life, and I shall raise him up in the last day. Let me share that with you. See this here? Let's see, get a picture of it. There we go. This letter over here is the right hand of the Father. And see, he is the one who sent his Son to die. That's a spike or a tent stake, or it means, that letter means destruction. And then he rose again to be at the right hand of the Father again. So he is the sent one of the Father. So now we have the scriptural background to understand the first sign or oath, because in this constellation, we have a virgin holding a branch or sprout in her right hand and grain or seed in her left hand, which supports the Abrahamic prophecy. Genesis 22:17 through 18. I shall certainly bless you, and I shall certainly increase your seed as the stars of the heavens, and as the sand which is on the seashore, and let your seed possess the gate of their enemies. And in your seed, the coming one, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. So the seed is Messiah. Remember, Paul said, as to seed, not seeds. Genesis 3:15. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed, and he shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. Zechariah 3:8-10. Now listen, Yehoshua the high priest, you and your companions who sit before you, for they are men of symbol. For look, I am bringing forth my servant the branch. Behold the stone which I have put before Yehoshua. On one stone are 7 eyes. See, I am engraving its inscription, declares Yahuwah of hosts. And I shall remove the guilt of that land in one day. In that day, declares Yahuwah of hosts, you shall invite one another under the vine and under the fig tree. Isaiah 11:1 is another great prophecy of the sprout. And a rod shall come forth from the stump of Jesse. Now look at this. And a rod shall come forth. That's constellation language for the glorified Messiah, because he will rule the nations with a rod of iron. I showed that a couple of weeks back. And a sprout or branch from his roots shall bear fruit. So here's him in his glorified form, and here's him as a man, a branch. And I think I pretty much said the same thing here. The rod refers to the son of Elohim, and the stump refers to Israel being reduced to a remnant because of their sin. Chapter 6, verse 13. Yeshai, or Jesse, King David's father, was a righteous man from Judah, and the sprout, or in some translations, branch, refers to the son of Adam. So the branch, son of Adam, came from the righteous remnant of Israel, the virgin. So now we can see how the heavens declare the esteem of El, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Isaiah 7:14. Therefore, Yahuwah himself gives you a sign. Look, the maiden, or the virgin, conceives and gives birth to a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. See, there's a big controversy about this. It was the Messiah born of a virgin or a maiden? Well, the constellation Virgo literally means virgin. And here in Isaiah 9:6-7, for a child shall be born unto us, a son shall be given unto us, and the rule is on his shoulder. And his name is called Wonder, Counselor, Strong El, Father of Continuity, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his rule and peace there is no end, upon the throne of David, and over his reign, to establish it and sustain it with right ruling and with righteousness from now on, even forever. The ardor, or the love of Yahuwah of hosts has done this. This next prophecy is almost identical to Genesis 3:15, prophesied also showing us that he is the first and last, beginning and end. Revelation 12:1-5. And a great sign was seen in the heaven, a woman clothed or clad with the sun. That means that the sun is marking that constellation, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. Well, there's Israel. And being pregnant, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign was seen in the heaven, and see, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his heads. And his tail draws 1/3 of the stars of heaven, and throws them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she bore a male child, who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught away to Elohim and to his throne. So see, and she bore a male child who was to shepherd. So the male child was human, but then it goes back to his origin, who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron. That's his glorified self. And her child was caught away to Elohim and to his throne, which now he's gone up to the throne. He's returned to his glorified being. Beautiful. Libra. Weighed in the balance. In Latin, This constellation is Libra and means weighing. In Hebrew, it is mozanim and means the scales, weighing in Akkadian. The name of this is Tulku and means altar or sacred mound. The star Zuben means price. Zuben el Ganubi, the price. So let's see. Weighing, the scales, weighing, altar or sacred mound, price, the price. That's what all these names from different languages are showing us. So it's definitely a balance, a scale. Here's some more. The price deficient. That's what Zuben el Ganubi means, the price deficient. And then Zuben Akrabi, price of the conflict or war. Zuben el Kamali, the price which covers. Hebrew name is kafar and means atonement. The price is paid through the atonement. The price which covers. So here's the prophecy concerning that. Isaiah 44, 21 to 23. Remember these matters, O Yaakov and Israel, for you are my servant. I have formed you. You are my servant, O Israel. Do not forget me. I shall wipe out your transgressions like a cloud, and your sins like a mist. Return to me, for I shall redeem you. Sing, O heavens, for Yahuwah shall do it. Shout, O depths of the earth. Break forth into singing, O mountains, forest and every tree in it. For Yahuwah shall redeem Yaakov and shall make himself clear in Israel. And now it's Romans 3:21 through 24. But now, apart from the Torah, should actually say, but apart from the law, a righteousness of Elohim has been revealed, being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets, and the righteous of Elohim is through belief in Yahushua Messiah to all and on all who believe, for there is no difference. For all have sinned and fall short of the esteem of Elohim, being declared right without paying by his favor through the redemption price paid, which is in Messiah Yahushua. Hallelujah. I am so happy about that. This constellation is also a picture of judgment. Proverbs 16, 7 through 11. When a man's ways please...
I just got a quick question.
Okay. What time of the year is it? 9?
Yep.
It's in the fall. Proverbs 16, 7 through 11. When a man's ways please Yahuwah, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than a large income without right ruling. A man's heart plans his ways, but Yahuwah establishes his steps. An oath is on the lips of the sovereign. In right ruling, his mouth trespasses not. A right scale and balances are of Yahuwah. All the weights in the bag are his work. Job 31, 1 through 6. I have made a covenant with my eyes. That's pretty heavy. How then could I gaze at a maiden? For what is the portion of Eloah from above, and the inheritance of a mighty from on high? Is it not calamity to the perverse, and strangeness to the workers of wickedness? Does he not see my ways and number all my steps? If I have walked with falsehood, or if my foot has hurried to deceit, Let him weigh me in a right scale, and let Eloah know my integrity. That's pretty amazing. It says, I have made a covenant with my eyes. If you accepted the way of Yahuwah and know that the Mazarot is his way, and you are studying that way, and you're not walking in the way, then he's asking, how then could I gaze at a woman, or have lust for a woman if you've made a covenant with your eyes? Isaiah 40, verse 15. See, nations are as a drop in a bucket and are reckoned as dust on the balance. See, he lifts up isles as fine dust. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I'll just ask if anybody has any more questions. Let me see. Let's play a song. Sing, O heavens, and rejoice, O earth. Shout with gladness, O mountains. Sing, O heavens, and rejoice. Shout with gladness, O you hills. For the Father has converted his people and has drawn his afflicted ones. His servant will raise the tribes of Jacob and restore the remnant of Israel. Elevate Yeshua, a light to the nations, so his salvation could reach the ends of the earth. Oh, sing, O heavens, and rejoice, O earth. Shout with gladness, O mountains. Sing, O heavens, and rejoice, O earth. Shout with gladness, O you hills. For the Father has converted his people. Yes, he has, and has drawn his afflicted ones. His servant will raise the tribe of Jacob and restore the remnant of Israel. Elevate Yeshua, a light to the nations, so his salvation could reach the ends of the earth. Oh, sing, rejoice, shout, gladness, sing, rejoice, shout, with gladness, sing, rejoice, shout, with gladness, sing, rejoice, shout, oh, peace. I said, rejoice. Hallelujah. Everybody still there? Hope I didn't run anyone off. So the next constellation is Scorpio. This is another one. The eagle, the conflict, the wounding. The next constellation, Scorpio, is difficult at best to determine if it was originally a scorpion. Many sources say that it was once an eagle. I tend to believe that it was an eagle because of the four faces on the cherubim, the four living creatures. Maybe this has a dual meaning here. Ezekiel 1:5-10. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and each one had four faces, and each one had four wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet were like the sole of a calf's foot. And they sparkled like the appearance of polished bronze. And under their wings on their four sides were the hands of a man. And each of the four had faces and wings. Their wings touched one another. They did not turn when they went, but each one went straight forward. And the likeness of their faces, the face of a man, Aquarius, and that's the water pourer. And each one of the four had the face of a lion. That's Leo. We went through that. And on the right side, and each of the four had a face of an ox, which is Taurus, on the left side. And each of the four had a face of an eagle, which is Scorpio. All four are cardinal points. According to E.W. Bullinger, the Hebrew name is Akrab, which is the name of a scorpion, but also means the conflict or war. The Coptic name is Isidis, which means the attack of the enemy or oppression. The Arabic name is Al-Akrab, which means wounding him and comes, wounding him that comes. Robert Wadsworth, author of A Voice Crying in the Wilderness, stated in his teaching at the conference that Scorpio was once an eagle. This seems to fit better because the heavens are the pattern we need to be looking to. The eagle fits better than a scorpion, because they are constantly saying to Yahuwah, Kadosh, 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 Yahuwah El Shaddai. But like I said, it may have a dual meaning. So for now, I will go with the understanding mostly because of the four faces of the cherubim in the scriptures. So let us now see how this bears out in scriptural prophecies. And can we find a conflict with the eagle involved? My cat keeps scratching something. Sorry. Isaiah 31:5. Like hovering birds, so does Yahuwah of hosts protect Jerusalem, protecting and delivering, passing over and rescuing. Exodus 19:3-6. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahuwah called to him from the mountain, saying, This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and declare to the children of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. And now, if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. So here, the eagle is seen to be a blessing to Israel if they obey his voice. But what happens if they don't? They saw what he did to the Egyptians. Here we see two eagles. One represents Yahuwah, and the other one represents Babylon. This is a pretty long prophecy here. So, yeah. So be patient with this prophecy because it is a little long, but we got plenty of time. It's 1:20 now on my time. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle, and speak a parable to the house of Israel. And you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, the great eagle with large wings of long pinions, covered with feathers of various colors, came to Lebanon and took the top of the cedar. He plucked off the topmost of its young twigs and brought it to a land of traders. In a city of merchants he placed it. He also took some of the seed of the land and planted it in the field for seed. He took it by many waters, set it like a willow tree. So it grew and became a low spreading vine. Its branches turned toward him, and its roots were under it. And it became a vine and brought forth branches and sent out shoots. And there was another great eagle with large wings and many feathers. And see, this vine bent its roots toward him and stretched its branches toward him to water it, away from the beds where it was planted. It was planted in a good field by many waters, to bring forth branches and to bear fruit and to be a splendid vine. Say thus, said the Master Yahuwah, is it going to thrive? Is he not going to pull up its roots and cut off its fruit and let it wither? All of its sprouting leaves wither, without great power of many people to pluck it up by its roots. See, it is planted. Is it going to thrive? Would it not utterly wither when the east wind touches it, wither in the beds where it grows? And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Please say to the rebellious house, do you not know what these mean, of these two eagles? Say, see, the sovereign of Babel went to Jerusalem and took its sovereign and the heads. That's the sprout. That's the very top. He plucked it off the top of the tree and brought them with him to Babel. And he took one of the royal seed and made a covenant with him and put him under oath. And he took away the mighty of the land so that the rain would be brought low and not lift itself up, but guard his covenant that it might stand. I believe the royal seed is talking about Daniel here. But he rebelled against him by sending his messengers to Egypt to give him horses and many people. Shall he thrive? Shall he escape who is doing these? And shall he break a covenant and still escape? As I live, declares the Master Yahuwah, in the place where the sovereign dwells, who set him up to reign, whose oath he despised and whose covenant he broke. With him in the midst of Babel he shall die. And Pharaoh with his great army and great company is not going to help him in battle, when they heap up a siege mound and build a wall to cut off many beings. And he despised the oath by breaking the covenant. And see, he has given his hand, and he has done all this. He is not going to escape. Therefore, thus said Master Yahuwah, as I live, my oath which he has despised, and my covenant which he has broken, shall I not put it on his own head? And I shall spread my tent over him, and he shall be taken in my snare. And I shall bring him to Babel and enter into judgment with him there for the trespass which he committed against me. Let me let my cat out real quick. Excuse me for that. As I live, my oath which he has despised and my covenant which he has broken, shall I not put it on him? Okay, so I need to go back down. He has committed against me, and all his fugitives with all his bands fall by the sword, and those who are left will be scattered to every wind, and you shall know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, and I shall take of the top of the highest cedar and set it out, And I myself shall pluck off a tender one from the topmost of its young twigs, and plant it on a high and lofty mountain, on the mountain of the height of Israel I planted. And it shall bring forth branches and bear fruit and become a big cedar, and under it shall dwell birds of every sort. In the shadow of its branches they shall dwell. And all the trees of the field shall know that I, Yahuwah, have brought down the high tree and exalted the low tree, dried up the green tree and made the dry tree flourish. I, Yahuwah, have spoken and shall do it. So if we go against the word of Yahuwah, then the eagle brings us into conflict, and we are wounded. On the other hand, if we listen to his voice, then he will bless us, and he will bear us on eagle's wings and bring us to himself. Revelation 12:14. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. Deuteronomy 28:47 through 52. Because you did not serve Yahuwah your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for all the plenty, you shall serve your enemies whom Yahuwah sends against you in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in need of all. And he shall put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. Yahuwah brings a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose language you shall not understand, a fierce-looking nation, which shows no regard for the elderly, nor show favor to the young. And they shall eat the fruit of your livestock and the fruit of your land until you are destroyed. They leave you no grain, nor new wine, nor oil, nor the increase of your cattle, or the offspring of your flocks, until they have destroyed you. Well, this sounds like our country is being overrun by immigrants. And they shall besiege you at all your gates till your high and fenced walls in which you are trusting come down in all your land. And they shall besiege you at all your gates in all your land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. So, just look at the, let's look at what it means again. The attack of the enemy. See, I should highlight these things. Or oppression. The Arabic name is al-Karab, which means wounding him that comes. So anyways, I thought that prophecy of the 2 eagles was very pertinent to this. Hosea 6:1 through 4. Put the ram's horn to your mouth like an eagle against the house of Yahuwah, because they have transgressed my covenant and they have rebelled against my Torah. They cry out to me, my Elohim, we, Israel, know you. Israel has rejected what is good, and enemy pursues him. They have made sovereigns, but not from me. They have made rulers, but I have not known. From their silver and gold they have made idols for themselves, so that they are cut off. And there's a prophecy of Edom as an eagle. The vision of Obadiah. This is what the Master Yahuwah said concerning Edom. We have heard a report from Yahuwah, and the messenger has been sent among the nations, saying, arise, and let us rise up against her for battle. See, I have made you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, and you who dwell in the clefts of the rock, whose dwelling is high, who say in your heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you rise high as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, from there I shall bring you down, declares Yahuwah. And here's a prophecy in Habakkuk. O Yahuwah, till when shall I cry and you not hear? I cry to you, violence, and you do not save. For why do you show me wickedness and cause me to see perversity? For ruin and violence are before me, and there is strife and contention arises. Therefore the Torah ceases, and right ruling never goes forth. For the wrong hem and the righteous, so that right ruling comes out twisted. Look among the nations and see, and be amazed, and be amazed. For a work is being wrought in your days, which you would not believe if it were told. Behold, I am raising up the Chaldeans, a bitter and hasty nation, who is going through the breadth of the earth to possess dwelling places that are not theirs. They are frightening and fearsome. Their right ruling and their exaltation proceed from themselves. Their horses shall be swifter than leopards and more fierce than evening wolves, and their horsemen shall charge ahead, and their horsemen will come from afar. They fly as the eagle, rushing to eat. There's a lot of prophecy in here, brothers and sisters. Do anybody have any questions? I mean, I feel like I'm just reading and reading. I don't know if anybody's comprehending anything. If you could give me some kind of indication, I'd appreciate it. Nobody has anything to say? Oh, I can't hear you, Sterling. How come? Just never mind. I'm not going to mess with it now. You'd have to text me or something. I can't hear a thing you're saying. I can't hear you. So, text me if you want to. Okay, so here, let me finish this up. Lamentations 4:11 through 19. Yahuwah has completed his wrath. He has poured out his burning displeasure, and he kindled a fire in Zion, and it consumed her foundations. The sovereigns of the earth did not believe, nor any of the inhabitants of the world, that an adversary and enemy would enter the gates of Jerusalem. It was because of the sins of their prophets, the crookednesses of their priests, who shed in their midst the blood of the righteous. They staggered blind in the streets. They had defiled themselves with blood, so that no one was able to touch their garments. They shouted at them, "Away, unclean, away, away, touch not," when they fled and staggered. They said among the Gentiles, "They shall stay no longer." The face of Yahuwah scattered them. He no longer regards them. They showed no respect for the priests, nor favor to the elders. While we exist, our eyes are consumed, watching vainly for our help. In our watchtower, we watched for a nation that could not save us. They have hunted our steps from going in our streets. Our end was near. Our days were completed, for our end had come. Our pursuers were swifter than the eagles of the heavens. They came hotly after us on the mountains and lay in wait for us in the wilderness. Okay, Sterling. Okay, I'm not. Okay, read this. Someone needs to give feedback so Kerry knows he isn't by himself. I'm not in the studio. I can't interact. Yes, I'm paying attention to the chat. Okay, great. Do you want to get on view? Yes. So is it? Let me just go ahead and text me something here, and I'll read it in the chat. So is everybody getting tired? I would sure like to talk with someone. Do you have a?
Hey, brother, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You didn't hear my comment before?
No, I didn't hear anything before.
Okay. Okay. I guess it seems that if I take myself off video or backstage, you were not going to hear me. So what I said is interesting on the eagle prophecies. I said, was that referring to an old kingdom back in that days, or is that prophecy referring to something now?
It's well, yes and yes. The prophecy was concerning when Babel, the king of Babylon, came and ransacked Jerusalem and took the people to Babylon. And then the other eagle is when Yahuwah himself, he brought them from Babylon back to Jerusalem. And so that was way back at the Babylonian exile. And but you know, there's this thing called Mystery Babylon, which we are. I believe America and many parts of the earth are Mystery Babylon because all of our kings have drunk of the wine of the wrath of whoring. And so I think that America, it could fit in this prophecy very well.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of comments based upon that about that prophecy had to do with America, which I find it super interesting. I was wondering if maybe anyone in has anything to add from the chat, because I mean the only country that I know of that has an eagle is us. So and so you know what I mean. You know,
Yeah.
so it kind of brings you to like a really like questioning, like you start questioning, like really, like what is that referring to?
It sure
So
sounds
you know,
like
at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, there's no other way to explaining it. You know what I mean? The way it sounds.
there's a lot of prophecies that I see.
You know, that's the way I see it.
There's a lot of prophecies that I see America in.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's why I believe we're Mystery Babylon, because we are the richest nation in the world, and all of the nations. I mean, in Revelation, remember, see it says that that the merchants of the earth were looking upon Babylon, how it was burning, and they were saying, "Oh, how Babylon is great, it's fallen." And you know, we used to get all of our goods and things from Babylon. Well, I think that it's quite possible that here pretty soon, I'm not trying to speak a prophecy, but I'm just saying that the world events right now could bring about, you know, World War III, and also I think we're already in World War III, and someone could hit the button and send a bomb over here and burn us up.
Yeah, that's
I
so
think
true.
it's possible, but I hope not. I sure hope not.
No, I hope not neither. But
Yeah.
all right,
I don't.
are you gonna go ahead?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Are you do we put the study again? Are you gonna add more? You're gonna continue?
There's more on here. I just don't know how much more anybody can handle because it's a lot. I'm reading a lot, and there's quite a bit to go. So,
do you want to mark that spot and we'll continue on next Sabbath?
yeah, that'd be good because we'll
Okay.
start at Sagittarius the Archer,
Mm-hmm.
and in the meantime we can chat or whatever, you know. Or I could sing another song, or
Yeah, I figured we'd sing another song. If no one has any questions, we'll just wrap it up. We have hit the 2 hour. So we started 12:30. It's already 2:40. So we're at 2 hours. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, so anyone can obviously whatever they missed, they can always ask a question. If not, they can always review the video once
right.
it's complete. But I would like for you to bring another song. I mean, this is This is what is the line? What is the line? I don't understand the question. Um, it's not that we don't have more time. It's just I've always figured that when you do at least 2 hours maximum, us as humans, our brain tends to wander.
I
And we,
agree. I
and
mean, it's not going to do any good.
Mhm.
Keep pounding it and pounding it and pounding it.
Correct. So what I try to do is I try to keep it a minimum of 2 hours. And like I said, if people would like to ask questions, that's why I encourage when people get on to ask questions, because that's the main reason why Brother Kerry's here, because Brother Kerry's been studying this for a very long time. And as always, I've put a lot of other brothers here too that they study for a very long time. So, and they have, I'm pretty sure they can answer a lot of questions. But as I said, what I'm gonna do is I will get Bo. I will get you the link so we can we're gonna end this pretty soon. So let's let Brother Kerry, and I'll make sure Brother Bo gets the link so he can come on, and then we can do discussions. But Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. Like I said, review for the brothers and sisters that are on the make sure they write any questions down, and then from there, for next Shabbat, Father willing, that we're able to come back. We'll come back on, and then any question that was not answered, well, then we'll be more than happy to get the questions answered. So, like I said, review the video next week. Write down any questions. We'll be back uh, between. I'm going to say it as this: we'll be back between 12 and 1. So we're not going to set an official time, because sometimes, depending on Shabbat, but we're gonna. If you see we don't get on 12, we definitely will be on by 1. So
Mhm.
just to let everyone know. And I'm gonna pass the brother Kerry's gonna end this. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Brother Kerry's gonna end it. And I'm gonna have him do the rest and end the show. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Father Yahuwah, I just take this opportunity to thank you for giving me this platform and having ears to hear and eyes to see that are there listening. And so I just give you the praise for it, Father. And I ask that these words actually do enter their heart and make sense to them and into their spirit. In Yahushua's name, amen. This is a song called On This Mountain. Let me back up a little bit. On this mountain, Yahuwah of hosts will make for all peoples a feast of food and elegant wines. On this mountain, Yahuwah of hosts will destroy the veil and on all faces. On this mountain, Yahuwah will reign. On Mount Zion, our hearts He will change. In Yah's kingdom, have no more shame. In Yerushalayim, we'll praise and proclaim. In that day we'll say, yes, see, this is Him. This is Yahuwah, our Elohim. We're so glad He saved us. We waited for Him. He will wipe away all tears from our eyes, destroy our enemies, all those He despised. We're so glad He saved us. We waited for Him, and we're waiting for Him. On the mountain, Yahuwah of hosts will make for all peoples a feast of food and elegant wine. On this mountain, Yahuwah of hosts will destroy the veil that's on all faces. On this mountain, Yahuwah will reign. On Mount Zion, our hearts he will praise. In Yah's kingdom, we'll have no more shame. In Yerushalayim, we'll praise and proclaim. And that day we'll say, yes, see, this is Him. This is Yahuwah, our Elohim. We're so glad He saved us. We waited for Him. He will wipe away all tears from our eyes, destroy our enemies, all those He despised. We're so glad He saved us. We waited for Him. And we waited for Him. On this mountain, I can't wait for that day when He'll take us to His mountain. Amen.
Amen, brother. So thank you. You want to say your farewells until next
Yes.
podcast?
Yes. Father, thank you again for this webinar. I pray that these words go out to many people, and I pray that the videos that are being put on YouTube will be looked at, and everybody will have a chance to